Good morning and welcome to day one of our trip. This is our first full day in the camper van. We got into the campsite really late, a lot later than actually we anticipated. The road on the way up was particularly difficult to drive. The weather was quite bad, so a lot of rain, a lot of wind, and trying to pass some of the lorries as we were going was interesting and fun, to say the least. But we made it up this morning, had our breakfast, had our coffee, which is the most important thing. It's a little bit windy today, so I don't know how much Rose is going to be able to capture. But I'll try and get some images of and some video of the campsite that we're staying at. We are right on the shoreline of Loch Lomond, and we're going to go and explore that today. A little bit less in terms of mileage than yesterday. I think we were 360 odd miles yesterday. Today's going to be less than that, but we will hopefully end up by the end of the night or by the end of the day in the Cairngorms. So join us today as we explore Loch Lomond, the Travelswithrosieuk, and adventure on over to the Cairngorms. See you. So we stopped off at lunchtime at the Lake of Menteith. Interestingly, only lake in Scotland. From what I remember, 10 years ago or so when we came here last, when we fished the lake, and I got shown up by someone who could outfish me. I think it was the guide's fault. That's definitely what I'm saying. It's the only lake in Scotland because of a translation issue. It's supposed to be a loch. They wrote it down, someone translated it wrong, and now it's a lake. So Lake Menteith is here. Try and get Rosie out and get some aerial shots. There's a priory in the middle which you can often get a little boat out to. Unfortunately, it looks like that it's closed at the moment. Might just be a little bit too early on in the season. So we jumped on that some 8-9 years ago when we last visited, and it's a really, really nice place. There's also a little bit further on down the lake, if I can try and get some shots of it, Dog Island as well, which is where some dogs were kept. Some really interesting background about that if you get the chance to have a look. So yeah, we're heading on out to the Cairngorms later on today, stopping off really to see what we spot on the way, see if there's anything that's interesting, and yeah, join us for the rest of the day. mountain pass. We did push up here about an hour ago and it was very, very heavy snow and a little bit difficult to drive, so we did find a turnaround spot and came back down, but we saw so many cars pushing back up that we thought maybe it was typical that this sort of thing happened and we would push back up through, but we're at a complete standstill now. There is a reported crash up ahead, so hopefully everyone that's involved is okay. We're stuck in traffic at the moment. Good thing is we're in a camper van, so we can make tea and coffee if we need to, and we've got enough food, so if we did have to pull over for the night, we've got these beautiful views around us, and we can sleep if we need to. I'll let you know how this gets on. We've been stuck here for a couple of hours already. Sadly, an emergency helicopter's flown by, a couple of recovery trucks as well, so might be stuck here for a little bit longer. It's just started snowing again. We might even be stuck here for the night, so we'll see. I'll let you know. Well, we made it into camp last night. It was, again, just as the sun was setting, so a little bit of a fumble around in the dark to get everything sorted.
You're gonna throw that to Mummy.
Morning. Last night was a pretty snowy one, quite cold as well, although the diesel heater in the van topped up some heat just before we went to sleep and kind of anticipated it being a little bit cold, so we brought ourselves some extra thick blankets. I brought my hammock quilt, so that kept me warm last night. Thanks, hammock.
We then headed out on our journey towards a small little harbour called Lipster. We stopped off for a spot of lunch earlier and we've stopped off at Big Burn Falls. About a 1.25 kilometre trek up to the falls. So we'll have a look at that now and see what it's like. What's that for? Oh, nice. An idea? I got no idea. How many deers have you got? At the end of the trail, we were greeted with this marvellous waterfall before heading back to this mysterious place.
lucky with the light that we had whilst we visited here. As you can see, it made for a fantastic view. And this is the port of Libster, where we will call home for the night. As you can see, we are parked on the harbour side, protected by the harbour wall, with this awesome view of the lighthouse. Good morning. Well, this is what we woke up to this morning. Stayed just down there. So it's day 4 on the trail, the NC500. But before we go, we'll pop something into the pot as a donation before heading off to John O'Groats. But before that, let's watch this sleepy port wake up before heading out for the day. Today we travel to Halligo Steps and its secret waterfall that only Rosie can see. Well, that was Eilean Steps. We've gone down. Hopefully you've seen the view from down there and that amazing dual waterfall that you can only really see by pushing Rosie out that far. Just catch a glimpse of it if you're stood on the rock edge, but nowhere near as good as if you can push the drone out further like that. Used to be 365 steps here, but unfortunately a few have been removed by vandals, so there's a few less now. And they used to farm or fish salmon from there, so as you can probably see by some of the architecture, there's those big holes that are in the ground. It's where they put the poles in to stretch the nets to dry them after. And that little crevasse that's there, the little bay, there's a winch that's down there as well, where they would winch the boats up once they finished and then haul them up onto where that building was in rougher weathers. It's really amazing to see, and obviously everything that's caught has to be hauled back up all over those steps, so there's a little resting point halfway that you can take a little breather on, but just absolutely phenomenal to see. Really beautiful. The weather, it's not sunny, but it's nice. There's no rain, which is great. There's no snow, which we've obviously experienced in the last couple of days. But just a really, really nice place. You can just see the wind farm out in the distance there, and a couple of the refineries as well. But just absolutely phenomenal from here.
Next, we headed out on the road to John O'Groats in search for some puffins. Well, here we are. Let's get Rosie out and push her out over those rocks. So we made it into camp for tonight. We have kind of pre-booked. We stopped off for some food in Thurso and booked ahead. Had some signal there, so we booked ahead to this campsite that hopefully you can see. It's really nice actually. We've got electric hookup, so it's a good chance to charge everything up. All of the batteries for Rosie we can charge up.
pocket batteries and also the power banks as well, so it should keep us going hopefully for the next couple of days off grid. Made it all the way up the east coast today, and we've started to track our way across the north coast. Hopefully for the next 7 or 8 days we can take our time and explore some of the more picturesque areas. I know what we've seen so far is absolutely amazing, but some of the places that we're going to see soon are going to be amazing. So join us tomorrow morning, get some coffee, get some breakfast, and get on the road. See you. So it is super windy today. Having a look at UAV forecast yesterday, I knew it was going to be windy. I knew there wasn't going to be any opportunity to get the Mini 2 up. Rosie is having a day off today. However, it is really windy. We just attempted to go down to Puffing Cove, which you've probably just seen. I'd imagine when it's dry, it's a nice stroll across the scrub, but it was pretty waterlogged. Probably a bit of rain, maybe a bit of snow if it did snow up here earlier on in the week. But we made it up to the point where you needed to scramble down, and looking at it with how windy it was, how wet it was, just wasn't safe to continue on. Obviously you saw some puffins yesterday, which was nice, and to be fair, I think if you'd agree, the view yesterday of the puffins was probably actually better than that point would have been anyway. So not really a wasted trip. It was a good opportunity to carry you, wasn't it, across the moorland. You didn't do much walking. So we're going to push on through now, do a bit of driving, stop off at any points that we can. Because of the weather, we're probably going to stop off at a few points that look like they're just sort of pull up and view. I'll spin you around now so you can see where we are at the moment. There is the Marie Curie Cancer Care Field of Hope in front of us, full of daffodils. I would imagine that this is obviously the right time to come and see this little place here, but it's a lovely little ward off area. We had Smoo Caves planned as a stopover, but we were worried about how busy it can get. We were really lucky and waited only a few minutes to get a space and started heading down. So we've just gotten into camp for the night. We pushed on through a couple of towns. They were really quite busy. Lots of people trying to book into the fielded campsites with electric hookup and whatnot. We used the app again and we found another harbour side stopover. This does have electric as well. It's £15, which I think is very reasonable, and it's payable at the local convenience store, which in a couple of minutes I'm going to walk up to and pay for the night. Really just an amazing view. We have the mountains, the lock side, and as you can see from Rosie above, just a beautiful background and place to stop over for the night. I'm really looking forward to waking up here, grabbing a coffee and seeing what tomorrow holds for us. We stopped off at the old school restaurant on the way here. It's kind of what drove us to this place. It was en route along this little road that headed off to this stopover. Passed a couple of more wild stopovers, a couple of lay-by side ones, and a couple that were down some tracks that didn't have electric hookup, but we decided that this will be really good for the night. Charging up the iPad for little one because that's keeping her occupied whilst we're travelling, and allowing us to concentrate on the roads, with some of the passes being quite technical, as you probably saw in the video from earlier. So this is going to be us for the night. Managed to grab myself a bottle of beer, which I'm going to grab in a second, and well, we'll see what tomorrow brings. Good morning. It's day 6. It's raining. We knew the rain was coming. We knew that it was going to be along this trip at some point. It's been predicted for pretty much all of the trips so far, and we've escaped most of it, obviously apart from the snow and the sleet, as we made that mountain pass at Abermore. Today we have no real set plans apart from just to work our way around the coast a little bit more, see what we find along the way, try and spot some puffins if we can, and enjoy ourselves and kind of enjoy the scenery that we have up here. It was a pretty awesome road that we drove past and down yesterday afternoon. Obviously stopped off at the old school restaurant, which was really nice. Absolutely amazing fish and chips, and the salmon starter was very tasty as well. The facilities here a little bit far away to walk, so a bit of a trek this morning to use those, but we've got ourselves sorted, got ourselves into a good routine.
Daddy,
Yeah.
I licked my lipstick so it was yummy.
To say it was nice and yummy. You liked it, did you? It was nice fish and chips. We're going to pop back there again for breakfast this morning. The little cafe that's here has got a sign out there saying that it's closed from the 1st to the 17th, so not open at the moment, but the place that we stopped off yesterday hopefully will be. So join us on today's adventure.
The sun's come out for you guys, which is nice. Looks like it's going to be a nice little day for you guys. So this island is owned by the Scowry Estate, but it's managed by the Scottish Wildlife Trust. So myself, I'm Ellie, and this is Phoebe. We're volunteering here for about 6 months this summer. There's another volunteer as well, and then we've got the ranger who's in charge of us all. So we're just here to count the birds and to give you guys some information, that sort of thing. So here you can see our island, and that white line is the visitor path. Yeah, so that's the path that you'll be heading round. We usually recommend you go round it anti-clockwise. That way you can get up to the Great Stack here, and if you're feeling a bit tired, you can just wander back down, or if you want a longer walk, you can go all the way round. So as I said, this is Great Stack, where we've had lots of guillemots and razorbills coming to nest. They've been coming and going, but they seem to have stuck around this time, so you'll probably see them, hopefully. And this is Puffin Bay, number 3. Now we've each seen about 1 puffin each so far, so they've been coming and going. Keep an eye out for their orange legs, yeah? So if you see lots and lots of the birds nesting, if you see a pair of orange legs, that's likely to be a puffin, so that's a good tip for you. This here is a good spot to look out for whales and dolphins and that sort of thing. And down here, Boulder Bay, we've been seeing a lot of seals around there, so keep an eye on the sea. You'll see their little heads, exactly, poking out, looking at you.
This marks a bit of a milestone for us. We're halfway through our trip now. After visiting Amber Island, we decided to push on down the road a little bit further in search of a place to stay for the night. We have had a couple of wild camping nights during our trip, and we thought today would be one as well. Pushing on through, we found this little lay-by. It was right next to this bridge that we crossed just before we finished for the night. Had quite a night's sleep. As the sun sets, you can see the view that we've got. All of that ridge line there, and then those mountainous peaks. All of you. Good morning from a bit of a rainy start. Rained a little bit throughout the night last night. Nothing too heavy. Wind wasn't too bad either. We've packed up camp and we are on the road at the moment, taking a scenic detour pass through this area here. As you can see behind me, some I think salmon fisheries. Almost salmon farming, I think is probably the right word for that. Just in the mouth of this lock here. So we're going to take a trip around here. The rain has eased up a little bit, so we're going to hopefully get the pocket up on top of the van again and give you a tour of this little pass. Don't really know what's on this road and what we're going to see, but let's have a look and find out. we've made it into camp for tonight. Murray's just behind us, and we're beachfront tonight rather than harbour side. Seems we can't go 2 days without at least being camped 30 metres away from the water. Sat on a bench looking out to the beach, spotting some seals, spotting some of the diving birds, and letting little one have a bit of fun on the sand before the sun sets. Got a couple of days to make it round to Skye, leaving us a few days in Skye before we need to head on back. But as you probably saw earlier, the mountain pass that we came through was a great drive. Van's been absolutely spot on. Using that four-wheel drive and that 2.5 litre diesel is absolutely great. So we're going to cook ourselves some steak this evening, have ourselves a beer, and see what tomorrow brings. Good night. So breakfast on the beach this morning. The sun's out. It's not too cold. Got our warmers on still, but we've got croissants, some fruit, and a fantastic view. Just spotted a couple of seals, maybe some 30 metres out from the shoreline. And to quote Andy, because I know you'll enjoy this, I'll swing you around, and you can hopefully see little one playing on the beach as well. So we're going to enjoy our coffee. So we're going to continue on with these, head on out. The plan is over the next 2 days to get to Skye and then spend a couple of days in Skye. And then unfortunately, we've got to start heading our way back. So join us on today's adventure and let's see what we find. So after that adventurous mountain pass that we've driven today, we've made our way across the Isle of Skye Bridge. There's actually two places that we had earmarked for tonight. The other side of the harbour here, just over there, and also this side as well. Went over that side, had a look for some food, but there was nothing that really took our fancy, so we doubled back here and we grabbed ourselves some fish and chips and also pizza as well. So you can see from above, found ourselves a nice little area to stop for tonight, looking out over the sky bridge, and hopefully the morning sunrise just over those mountain peaks will look nice in the morning as well. So the plan is to spend the next 3 days in Skye. We've got a list of different things that we want to look at. So a nice relaxed tour around there just to end. Head back up on the NC500, finish that off, and sadly that will end our trip. Still, a few more nights left. Let's see what tomorrow holds. The weather forecast says that it's not going to rain, but then the weather forecaster said that it's going to rain every night and every day that we've been here, and it's not been too bad. It's a light spit of rain now, but not anything anywhere as bad as it was forecast. But we'll see what it says in the morning, see what it looks like, and carrying on a bit more of an adventure. See you soon. So those were the fairy pools. Looks like the water runs off of the mountains just behind me there and generates those little pools that you can see. Don't know how well the camera picked it up, but they are crystal clear, very, very, very fresh water, very cold. Dipping our toes in, some of us up to our knees, and possibly the coldest water I think I've dipped my toes in. It always seems cold at the time. So we're going to start walking back to the car now. A little bit of a trek back. So that was the fairy glen. As you saw, there's a little castle outcrop that we were able to make our way to the top of, which was a little bit of a squeeze to get through, but we managed, even with a little one. We belayed her up to get to the top. The whole of this area is full of these oddly shaped hills. Don't know exactly how they're formed like this, but it makes for some really nice scenery. As you can see, it's I understand why it's called the Fairy Glen. So we're off now back to the car. It's a short kind of 15-minute hike back, and then we're going to attempt a bit of a ridge walk. The weather today, a little bit cloudy, sunny but dry at the moment. The forecast for this afternoon is that it's supposed to pick up and start blowing a little bit of a gale. As I said this morning, I don't know how much we can trust these weather reports. Take them with a pinch of salt, I think. So we're going to have a go, make the attempt. It seems a little bit too much, then we're turning back round. And there's a beach with some dinosaur footprints on, so that's on the cards. I think we need to find a spot of lunch first. Got a few supplies in the car, but it'd be nice to have a proper meal before we head up the mountain. And yeah, we'll crack on. We've made our way down from the mountain to the seaside now. We're on Coran Beach, which is quite famous for imprinted dinosaur footprints, so we're having a bit of an explore and seeing what we can find. So we've stopped off this evening at a place called Invershell. I have absolutely no idea if I've got the pronunciation right on that. But it's a lock that feeds into the water that goes out where the bridge of the Isle of Skye is. So we went back over to the mainland. The weather's not supposed to be great tomorrow, and what we had planned in Skye would have put us up one of the other mountains. So we've headed back over to the mainland, and I think we're going to have a look to see if there's any indoor activities for tomorrow, possibly for a little one. So we found ourselves a beautiful wild camping spot that's lockside. Unfortunately a little bit late getting to the pub that's just close by to be able to get any food, but we stopped off at the co-op on the way. Got some snacks for this evening and also some breakfast for the morning. So goodbye for now, and I'll see you soon. Well, good morning. For us today it's Easter Sunday. Woken up next to this beautiful loch. A really good night actually. We stopped off at the co-op on the way to pick up some supplies and used the app to find this spot here, right on the side of the loch. No disturbances, really quiet night. A road that's picked up a little bit of traffic now, I think must be kind of locals and tourists, but being a Sunday it was a very quiet night. Planned for today, I think there is a small little castle that's got a bridge just jetting out to it down the road. We passed that about a mile away. Past that last night as we were heading to this spot. Then we are going to be heading towards Fort William. The luxury today of stopping off at anywhere that we want, anything that looks interesting and fun. I think we might be chasing some chocolate rain from the Easter Bunny. But apart from that, it's going to be hopefully quite a nice day. A little bit of rain this morning, but it's stopped now, so we'll see what it does. Fingers crossed. We've been extremely lucky on this trip so far, so it's only just that it carries on in that fashion. We're going to be heading down over the next couple of days south of Fort William, heading back down towards the Midlands, returning the van, and unfortunately bringing our trip to the end. But in the meantime, see what we can explore and find around here.